This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 6th day of January in the year 2026. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. President Irfan Ali today commended the leadership of U.S. President Donald Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio during a telephone conversation with the U.S. Secretary of State, the Office of the President has reported. In a statement this afternoon, the Office of the President noted that the telephone conversation centered around recent developments in Venezuela and other issues of importance in the Western Hemisphere. The statement said President Ali commended the leadership of President Trump and Secretary Rubio in reaffirming a shared commitment to freedom, democracy, and regional security. And the Guyanese leader also reiterated Guyana's steadfast commitment to working with the U.S. as the region's strategic and important security ally. President Ali also re-emphasized Guyana's support for every effort to combat transnational crime, including drugs and gold smuggling and narco-terrorism. The president, according to the statement, reiterated Guyana's respect for the rule of law, free and fair elections, upholding of democratic norms, and the furtherance of peace and prosperity for all the people of the region. He also welcomed Secretary Rubio's reaffirmation of the U.S. continued support for and partnership with Guyana in defense of Guyana's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The statement said both President Ali and Secretary Rubio committed to remaining engaged on areas discussed and other areas of mutual interest. In its own statement, the U.S. Department of State said Secretary Rubio reaffirmed the U.S. commitment to deepening security cooperation with Guyana to address shared challenges, including illegal narcotics and firearms trafficking, which threaten regional stability and economic resilience. The U.S. State Department said both President Ali and Secretary Rubio underscored the importance of continued collaboration to disrupt foreign terrorist organizations and transnational criminal networks while strengthening law enforcement capabilities and border security. The discussion on the telephone came in wake of that operation this past weekend in Caracas, Venezuela, which saw the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife being arrested and flown out of Venezuela by U.S. special agents. The two appeared in court yesterday facing drug and other charges. They are expected back in court in March. The Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez has since been sworn in as the interim president. The U.S. has come under some criticism over its actions. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Ready to position your brand at the heart of the region's most influential energy event? The Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo invites you to become a sponsor and connect directly with leaders shaping the future of energy and industry. Choose from 4 powerful tiers: Platinum, Diamond, Gold, and Silver. As a sponsor, your brand takes center stage, from live press conferences and magazine features to exclusive speaking opportunities and top-tier visibility across every major platform. Enjoy premium exhibition booths, media coverage, and access to hundreds of industry professionals and decision makers. Whether you want to lead discussions, host networking events, or elevate your brand presence, sponsorship puts your company at the forefront of opportunity and innovation.
Hi, miss. It's lovely to see you again. Here you go. Are you interested in purchasing the Christmas cookies? Sure.
Happy holiday, Mom.
Sometimes all it takes is a kind word, a gentle smile, a moment of care.
Did you have a medical trip today?
Oh, yes, I did.
At Massey Stores, the magic of Christmas isn't in the decorations. It's in the people who make you feel seen.
We finance everything with Courts Ready Finance, from educational expenses and those unplanned emergencies. Get it done with financing through Courts Ready Finance. All you need to apply is a valid ID, proof of income, proof of address, and 2 references. Get quick approval and flexible monthly installments, plus credit protection insurance. Apply in store or online at courts.com. Courts Ready Finance. Ready when you are. Conditions apply.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Sunday, January 18, 2026 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Let's tell you that tonight, senior Guyana government officials have confirmed that Guyana is in advanced discussions with the U.S. government about an agreement that could see Guyana accepting third country deportees and refugees from the U.S. Third country deportees and refugees would refer to those persons being deported by the U.S. to a country other than their own home country. News source has confirmed that the discussions have been ongoing for months, and there was a pause in August ahead of Guyana's national elections, with a promise for the discussions to resume after the elections. The discussions have resumed, and the two sides are now hammering out an agreement that could be signed within the coming weeks. According to sources, Guyana will have the right under the agreement to refuse any person or group of persons identified for deportation from the U.S. Additionally, the source said Guyana has already made it clear that its preference is for skilled persons who are without a criminal background. The agreement is expected to see the U.S. bearing all of the costs associated with the relocation of those being deported and those who were seeking refugee status in the U.S. but were denied and do not want to be returned to their home country. A senior government official said the discussions on the agreement are progressing and will continue. In February 2025, a news source reported that Guyana was inching towards accepting third country nationals, as the CBS News of the U.S. reported that Guyana was among countries in talks with the U.S. on the issue. At that time, President Irfan Ali stated that while there have been discussions on migration matters with the U.S. Secretary of State, there was no talk at the time about having third country deportees sent to Guyana. Two other CARICOM nations, Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica, announced late last week and early this week that they have both reached an agreement with the U.S. to accept third country deportees. Let's tell you now on the News Source Evening Bulletin that the director of the Center for International and Border Studies, Dr. Mark Curtin, believes that while Guyana has suffered at the hands of Venezuela due to its sustained acts of aggression and baseless claims to the Essequibo region, the country must stand on the side of international principle in wake of the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife by U.S. Special Forces and their removal from their country. Venezuela's Vice President Delcy Rodriguez has since been sworn in as the interim president of Venezuela, as Maduro and wife face drug trafficking charges in the U.S. In an interview with News Source, Dr. Curtin said Guyana would want to ensure that it helps to maintain principles and practices of international law, regardless of its history with Caracas. He said the country has always championed respect for international law.
And so we have adhered to those principles, while at the same time, from in the 1960s to now, Venezuela has repeatedly violated those principles. Now, when you now turn up in 2025, and you see the U.S. now violating those same principles which undergird our positions, I think that is immediately a question that we need to analyze more robustly.
Dr. Curtin said it is also important for the country to carefully analyze the situation, even as it remains fluid with a high level of uncertainty. The international affairs expert also opined that with the U.S. now declaring control over Venezuela and with Rodriguez at the helm, Guyana must be careful, even with the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy before the international court.
We've seen, maybe as a tactic, the appointment of Delcy Rodriguez as an interim president, and that too may raise some red flags in Guyana. She has been, as foreign minister and then as vice president, very strident in opposing the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice in the case of the Guyana-Venezuela border issue. So while it is clear that whatever government is in place in Venezuela, there is this view that Essequibo belongs to Venezuela. And we even saw where she and then President Maduro were responsible for the establishment, quite curiously, of the state of Guyana Essequibo. Once again, against the whole principle of sovereignty and territorial integrity in the case of Guyana. So we have to be careful.
He said there may be an attempt by Rodriguez to employ a transactionalist approach to resolve the border controversy, and Guyana must guard against that. Dr. Curtin said on the flip side, there could be major pushback by Venezuela against the interventions of the U.S., and that could lead to further instability in the country, which for decades has been battling a social and economic crisis. That, he said, could result in another wave of migrants flooding Guyana's border communities, with implications for the country's social services, but also its security. Guyana, he said, must therefore have a robust and comprehensive plan in place to ensure that the country's borders are protected and migrants are thoroughly screened. In the medium term, Dr. Curtin believes that there could also be implications for Guyana's oil sector, with a possible drop in oil revenue, particularly if Venezuela's oil sector is revitalized as promised by the U.S. president. He said regardless of the situation in Venezuela, Guyana must have a whole country approach to advance development and safeguard its sovereignty and territorial integrity.
My view is that we have to get, the opposition, the other stakeholders, the academic and religious community in the state together to develop that type of approach. And one has to recognize too that Guyana's diplomacy has to continue to be our first line of defense. So in that sense, I believe that the diplomatic effort must be enhanced, and where we see new alliances must be created, and the allies which we have in place already must be strengthened.
Dr. Mark Curtin has long championed the need for a unit comprising government and non-governmental organizations and key stakeholders to be established to conduct day-to-day analysis on the controversy and influence decision-making. With the new developments in Venezuela, he said it is even now more important for such a unit to come on stream. The first witness in the extradition case against city billionaires Nazar and Azruddin Mohammed took the stand today as Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman initiated the committal proceedings. The witness, Sharon Rupchan Edwards, is the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. While being led by Special Prosecutor Hubert McKenzie, Rupchan Edwards told the court that on the 30th of October 2025, she received a package containing a bundle of documents and a diplomatic note from the United States. The court heard that the diplomatic note included an extradition request for Nazar and Azruddin Mohammed. The Permanent Secretary said upon seeing the extradition request, the package with the diplomatic note was handed over to the Minister of Home Affairs, Unish Walran, on the same day. She said she later saw a document containing an order to proceed with the signature of the Minister of Home Affairs. But while McKenzie called on Rupchan Edwards to describe both the diplomatic note and the order to proceed, Defense Attorney Sion Derjean challenged her authority to do so. Rupchan Edwards said she would be in a position to identify the signature on the order to proceed, having worked with the Home Affairs Minister for a period of 5 years, while in the case of the diplomatic note, she would be able to identify it by its number, seal, yellow and blue ribbons, as well as the signature. But Derjean again objected, telling the court that Rupchan Edwards did not affix any unique mark on the documents, a position he maintained outside the courtroom.
The witness gave away the paperwork, never saw it again, and comes here in court for the first time to identify it. No unique identifying features. So we were very concerned.
Against that background, Derjean expressed concern about the execution of the committal proceedings.
All of the evidence against the Mohammeds at this stage are strictly papers. We will not be able to question or cross-examine or test the veracity of any of these witnesses, many of whom are abroad, some of which are local, most of whom are anonymous, unknown witnesses. It therefore means that the procedures to admit paperwork as evidence have to be strictly complied with. In this case, we will say that those procedures were not complied with, and we made those submissions. And it reached a tempo when I was so frustrated I had to say that not even in a cus case, not even in a trivial narcotics case, would this be permissible. Why is it being permitted? Or why is the prosecution asking the court to permit, in this case, paperwork evidence where the chain of custody is broken?
While the witness was allowed to provide the court with identifying features for both documents, the court only admitted the diplomatic note into evidence and not the order to proceed. Magistrate Latchman, in doing so, repeatedly warned the prosecutor not to attempt to bring what cannot be brought through the front door through the back door. The committal proceedings will continue on Thursday, when Rupchan Edwards is expected to return to the witness box. According to the prosecutor, at least 2 other witnesses are expected to appear before the court in the extradition hearing.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. It is an offense to make false objections. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Thursday, January 22, 2026. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
This holiday season, we pause to reflect on what truly brings us together. It's the love and care we share in every interaction, not only within our teams, but also with our customers, partners, and suppliers. The way we collaborate across roles and organizations, supporting one another to achieve more. It's our shared responsibility to deliver excellence at every step. Through growth and continuous improvement, we move forward together.
Happy holidays from our Massey family to yours.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Washi. Hi people. Washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say wash it soap powder, wash clothes so nice. Wash it soap powder, leave your clothes color bright. Wash it soap powder, leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks for wash it soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright, have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Wash it soap powder, wash clothes so nice. Wash it soap powder, leave your clothes color bright. Wash it soap powder, have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
Hi, my name is Stephen Jacobs, Minister within the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. Health and fitness is the heart of a strong nation. And when we have strong Guyanese citizens, it helps with discipline and also productivity, and also a long-lasting life for you. So, for that reason, I'm endorsing the Energy Conference run on the 15th of February, 2026. See you there.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can make a claim for registration, change or correction to your particulars, or you can object to the inclusion of anyone who you believe should not be on the list. If you are desirous of making a claim or objection, you must visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to do so. Visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. All GECOM registration offices will open Mondays to Fridays from 8 to 18 hours, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 14 hours. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Now to the extradition hearing for the Mohammeds. Attempts by the attorneys for the businessmen Nazar and Azruddin Mohammed to have the magistrate court pause its extradition proceedings failed this morning, with Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman ordering the prosecution to call the first witness. The Mohammeds are fighting an extradition request by the U.S. to face money laundering and tax evasion charges related to gold exports from Guyana. In court this morning, Senior Counsel Royce Ford, Sion Dorjon, and Damien De Silva, who represent the Mohammeds, submitted to the court that it should not proceed with the committal proceedings against the father and son, one day after the High Court refused to pause the proceedings in the magistrate's court. The attorneys said they are appealing that High Court ruling. Senior Counsel Ford told reporters that it was important to bring the various applications to the attention of the magistrate.
Yesterday, filed an appeal to the full court, and we filed a concomitant application for a stay, which we expect to be heard soon. We don't have a date as yet from the court. So that is pending, and that is a continuation in the march towards the ultimate arbiter, which we believe is the CCJ, to decide these issues. In relation to the judicial review application, that is a very important application, because we are challenging in that application the authority of the minister to issue an authority to proceed. We would concomitantly be challenging the arrests and all the related proceedings.
Inside the courtroom, the defense team argued that the Minister of Home Affairs, Onej Walren, is Azruddin Mohammed's political rival, and her order to proceed with the extradition proceedings is politically motivated and biased. That issue is at the center of the application for judicial review. Further, they maintain that the Mohammeds could be gravely prejudiced if the committal proceeding is allowed to commence while decisions in the higher courts are pending. But the lead prosecutor, Terrence Williams, shut down those arguments. Relying heavily on the acting Chief Justice's decision, Williams told the magistrate that the applications by the Mohammeds can proceed concurrently with the extradition process without the risk of injustice. He argued that once committal proceeding ends, there will be an opportunity for future challenges. Magistrate Latchman, after listening to the arguments put forward, instructed the prosecution to call the first witness and told the attorneys on both sides that no stay has been granted in the matter and the matter will proceed.
Court ruled as in applying the law, there was no stay. In fact, the stay was refused and there was no further stay. And the learned Chief Justice had ordered that the proceedings continue. And the learned Principal Magistrate applied the law, we say properly, in causing proceedings, ordering the proceedings to commence this morning.
But even as the first witness, Permanent Secretary of the Foreign Affairs Ministry Sharon Roop Chan Edwards, entered the witness box, Senior Counsel Ford made another intervention. He told the court that even as it was proceeding with the committal proceedings, the defendants and their attorneys have not been furnished with a list of the corresponding and local charges.
And for the first time, we raised the issue of the fact that up to now, but up to then, we were not in receipt of the local charges. We pointed the authorities, we explained it to the court, and at that time, notwithstanding the witnesses were called or the first witness was called to give evidence, we were not in receipt of something that the court effectively conceded was required.
It was not until Ford brought the issue to the attention of the court that Special Prosecutor Williams listed a total of 8 corresponding charges. Those charges are conspiracy to commit misdemeanor, conspiracy to commit a felony, computer-related fraud obtaining by false pretense, inducing persons by false pretense, forging of public documents, false declarations, and money laundering. Ford, upon hearing the charges, appeared dissatisfied and stood to his feet yet again. But Magistrate Latchman reminded him that her decision was final and the committal proceedings would commence. The Attorney General, Minister Anil Nandlal, has accused the defense team of employing a number of delaying tactics to drag out the process. Ford told reporters today that Nandalal's behavior is inconsistent with that of an attorney general.
He has to decide, on one hand, if he's an active politician, and to the extent that he's an attorney general, the holder of an office, the head of the Bar of Guyana, he's required to conduct himself in an appropriate way. Our society has gotten so docile to the extent that we allow office holders to do whatever they want to do. It is improper for Mr. Nandalal to be making the statements that he's been making the comments that he's been making.
And brushing aside the concerns of the Attorney General, Senior Counsel Ford stated that the objective of the defense team is not to delay the extradition proceedings, but to ensure that the defendants are treated fairly throughout the proceedings. He said the team intends to fight to the end. Tourism Minister Suzanne Rodriguez has found herself again denying that her expansive developing local and overseas assets portfolio has been funded by any corruption or illegal activities. After issuing two statements last week on the construction of a massive house in a private scheme and an apartment complex in Providence, Rodriguez has issued a new statement about a multi-million-dollar property she purchased in Florida. In a series of videos, leader of the Win Party, Azruddin Mohammed, questioned the minister's wealth generation and pointed to the many properties under her name and the name of her partner. In a statement this morning, the minister confirmed that the property in Florida is owned by a company that she has shares in. The property was originally purchased in her name, but that purchase was transferred to the company that was established. More than $500,000 was reportedly spent on the purchase of the property. Rodriguez claims that the property was purchased through a mortgage that she said was secured from a U.S. financial institution, A&D Mortgage. She provided a document which showed the annual tax and interest for 2024, as well as the date and the value of that mortgage. The minister also explained that the property is rented and the mortgage is being serviced by the rental income. She said Mohammed has repeatedly and wrongly equated her assets to her public service salary. She says such a comparison is unfair and disregards how a person leverages equity to access loans from the banking system. In addition to her public service salary, she says she receives rental income from other properties and proceeds from family businesses. The minister also sought to explain the source of funds for the acquisition of two properties in a private development at Peters Hall. She said she received mortgages for both properties from local commercial banks to finance those developments. With regards to ownership of a gas station, she said the gas station is owned by the Shell Oil Company. The minister's partner reportedly runs the station as a retail contractor. The opposition parties have been calling on the minister to resign from office to allow a probe of the serious corruption allegations that have been leveled against her. In the world of business right now, one of Guyana's largest conglomerates, Banks DIH Limited, has recorded an after-tax profit of $9.8 billion for the year 2025. That's billion with a B. It's a minimal increase in the after-tax profit of 2.3%. The before-tax profit was $13.7 billion as compared to $13.4 billion in 2024, an increase of just over 3%. In 2025, Banks DIH Limited generated revenue of $47.3 billion. When shareholders of the company meet later this month for their annual general meeting, they will hear that 2025 was a challenging year for the company, owing mostly to production downtime for beer production in the first quarter of last year, which was due to the late arrival of spare parts for the beer plant. The maintenance program was affected for a few months, and that slowed production. The shareholders will also hear from their chairman Clifford Rees that in the last 3 quarters of the year, production increased and the company also commissioned a new soft drink plant, which resulted in increased production and operational efficiency. The company also commissioned a new beer plant in October of last year and added increased power generation to its power system to allow better and more efficient production. Shareholders will also hear that in the coming year, Banks DIH remains optimistic about its position in a changing market. It intends to invest more in new equipment and facilities to support its growth to meet growing product demands. The company will also be looking to expand a number of its stores across the country to better cater for customers. The Banks DIH shareholders meeting is set for Saturday the 31st of January 2026. Now to Linden and that gruesome murder. The 24-year-old ex-girlfriend of the Linden businessman who was gunned down last Tuesday at Wisma in Linden while waiting to pick up his daughter has been charged with the man's murder. She has been remanded to jail. The ex-girlfriend Shania Benjamin was not required to enter a plea when she appeared before Magistrate Russia Liverpool this morning, charged with the murder of 27-year-old Amar Jones. The magistrate remanded the woman to prison until the 16th of February, when the matter will continue. Benjamin was arrested hours after the man's shooting death, and she has been in custody since then. The two shared a young child together. According to reports, although they were no longer together, they would find themselves in many arguments. On the day of the incident, the man had made arrangements to pick up the child and informed the ex-girlfriend of the area where he would be waiting. Moments later, eyewitnesses said a white car pulled up in front of the man's Canter truck, and a young man emerged from that car and opened fire on Jones as he sat in his truck. He attempted to reverse from the area but was hit twice to the head. The main suspect is believed to be the current boyfriend of the ex-girlfriend, who is now facing the murder charge. The police have not released any details about that suspect as the investigation is ongoing. However, the car that is believed to have been used in the commission of the crime was found. The matter remains under active investigation tonight.
First-time homeowner, ready to build a dream house but worried about getting your plans approved? The Single Window Planning Approval System makes it easy. One application, one online platform, faster, simpler house plan approval. Visit our website to kickstart the process at singlewindow.chpa.gov.gy. No running around, no confusion, just clear steps and efficient service, all in one place. Apply, track, and get approved with confidence. The Single Window System, helping first-time homeowners move from planning to building the smart way. Single Window Planning Approval System, designed for transparency, built for convenience.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. Anyone who became 18 years or older on December 31, 2025, and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. If you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE, you are required to apply for registration if your name is not on the PLE, apply for a transfer if you've changed your address since you were registered, apply for a name change if you have changed your name, or apply for a correction if your registration particulars are incorrect. Any person applying for a change or correction to his or her particulars must provide the required original source documents: birth certificate and deed poll for a name change by deed poll, birth certificate and marriage certificate for a name change by marriage, divorce absolute in the case of a woman who is desirous of reverting to her maiden name from her married name, birth certificate, adoption certificate, or naturalization certificate for correction of minor clerical errors. Visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. The claims aspect of this exercise will end on Sunday, January 18, 2026. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, We're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
Something new has been growing, and it's now ready for you to pick.
Fresh.
Taste the Fruta freshness. Pick the fresh new 200 ml size today. Live Frutiful.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. GECOM is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of GECOM's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. GECOM has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall in the region. Venezuela's main opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, has vowed to return home quickly, praising U.S. President Donald Trump for toppling her enemy, Nicolas Maduro, and declaring her movement ready to win a free election, according to Reuters. Trump appears, however, to hope for now to work with interim President Delcy Rodriguez and other senior officials from Maduro's government, disappointing the opposition and contributing to the nervousness gripping Venezuela. Machado, 58, says she plans to return home as soon as possible. The industrial engineer and mother of three escaped from Venezuela in disguise in October to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, which she dedicated to Trump. Machado said she had not spoken to Trump since October 10, when the Nobel Award was announced. He has said that the United States needs to help address Venezuela's problems before any new elections, calling a 30-day timeline for a vote unrealistic. In the wake of the U.S. attack on Venezuela, the Mexican government has found itself traversing the most delicate balancing act since President Donald Trump began his second term, strongly condemning the operation while doubling down on bilateral cooperation lest Mexico find itself in Trump's crosshairs next. On Saturday, hours after the elite U.S. Special Forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife in their home, Trump floated the prospect of U.S. military action inside Mexico, saying drug cartels are running the country and that something is going to have to be done with Mexico. The weekend's events clearly rattled Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum. She started her daily morning press conference on Monday, reading from a document that detailed Mexico's position on Venezuela. She said Mexico categorically rejects the intervention in the internal affairs of other countries. The president's comments rank among her sharpest criticisms of Washington to date. And finally tonight, international news. The U.S. President Donald Trump has been discussing a range of options to acquire Greenland, including use of the military, the White House said. In a statement, the White House told the BBC on Tuesday that acquiring Greenland was a national security priority. It comes after Trump repeated over the weekend that the U.S. needed Greenland, a semi-autonomous region of fellow NATO member Denmark, for security reasons. European allies are rallying in support of Denmark, following renewed insistence by the U.S. that it must have control over Greenland. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.